Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, and welcome to the Devi Mahatmyam class at the Sri Vidya Temple. In the last class, we got through Navakshari Nyasam, but I think I'd like to go back to the beginning of Ratri Suktam and just chant through that one time. So we'll just do Ratri Suktam and then we'll go right into, or actually, let's practice the Navakshari Nyasam too. Om Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye. Now starting with Ratri Suktam. Vishweshwarim Jagadhatrim Sthiti Samharakarinim Nitram Bhagavatim Vishnuratulam Tejasah Prabhuho Brahmovacha Tvam Swaha Tvam Swadha Tvam Hivashat Paraswaratmika Sudha Tvam Akshare Nitye Tridha Matratmika Stita Ardhamatra Stita Nitya Yanucharya Visheshataha Tvameva Sandhya Savitri Tvam Devi Janani Para Tvayetat Dharyate Vishwam Tvayetat Srujyate Jagat Tvayetat Palyate Devi Tvamatsyante Jasarvada Visrishtau Srishti Rupa Tvam Sthiti Rupa Japalane Tatha Samhriti Rupante Jagatosya Jaganmaye Vidya Mahamaya Mahamedha Mahasmritihi Mahamoha cha bhavati Mahadevi Mahasuri Prakritistvam cha sarvasya gunatraya vibhavini Kalaratrir Maharatrir Moharatrischa Daruna Tvam Shri Swamishwari Tvam Hri Tvam Buddhir Bodhalakshana Lajja Pushtis Tatha Tushtis Tvam Shantihi Shantirevacha Khadgini Shulini Ghora Gadini Chakrini Tatha Shankhini Chapini Varna Bhushundi Bharikhayudha Saumya Saumyatara Shesha Saumyebhyas Tvati Sundari Para Paranam Paramattvameva Parameshwari Yacha Kinchit Kvachit Tvastu Sadasattvakhilatmike Tasya Sarvasya Ya Shaktis Sattvam Kim Stuyase Tada Yaya Tvaya Jagat Srashta Jagat Patyati Yo Jagat Sopi Nidravasham Nitah Kastvam Stotumiheshwaraha Sharira Grahana Mahamishana Evacha Karitaste Yato Tastvam कस्तोतुं शक्तिमान् भवेत् सा त्वमित्थं प्रभावैः स्वैरुदारैर्देवि संस्तुता मोहयैतौ दुराधर्षावसुरौ मधुकैटभौ प्रबोधं च जगत्स्वामी नीयतामच्युतो लघु बोधश्च क्रियतामस्य हन्तुमेतौ महासुरौ. Next, Navakshari Nyasam. And we won't do the motions, we'll just go through the pronunciation. After we complete Saptasati Nyasam, then we'll talk about the motions.
I have a question. Why don't you Om never chant?
Sometimes there's no Om in the text that I have. Once I have the...
No, never chant.
Yeah, some of them I think have Om, not always.
No, always.
Are there Oms in the middle of a word?
Oh.
No, in the very beginning.
Oh, okay.
In the very beginning. Some texts will have it, some won't. But once I have the standardized doc, it'll be like the same for all the scripts. So everybody can use that. So it's the same thing. Okay, so Navakshari Nyasam. Om Asya Sri Chandi Mahalakshmi Mahamantrasya Brahma Vishnu Rudra Rishayah Gayatri Ushnik Anushtup Chandamsi Shri Mahakali Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswatyo Devatah Aim Bijam Hrim Shaktihi Klim Kilakam Shri Mahakali Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Prasada Siddhyarte Jape Tiniyogah Om Aim Angushtabhyam Namaha Hrim Tarjanibhyam Namaha Klim Madhyamabhyam Namaha Chamundaye Anamikabhyam Namaha Vichyekanishthikabhyam Namaha Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Vichye Karatalakaraprishtabhyam Namaha Aim Hridayaya Namaha Hrim Shirase Swaha Klim Shikhayai Vashat Chamundayai Kavachaya Hum Vichye Netratrayaya Voshat Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Vichye Astraya Phat Bhurbhuva Suvaro Miti Dikbandhaha Dhyanam Khatkam Chakragadeshu Chapaparikhan Chulam Bhushundim Shiraha Shankham Sandadhatim Karaistrinayanam Sarvanga Bhushavrutam Nilashmadyutimasya Padadashakam Seve Mahakalikam Yamastau Swapite Harau Kamalajo Hantum Madhum Kaidabham Kshasrak Parashum Gadeshu Kulisham Padmam Dhanushkundikam Dandam Shaktimasim Charma Jalajam Ghantam Surabhajanam Shulam Pasha Sudarshane Chadadhatim Hastaif Prasannananam Seve Sairibhamartini Miha Mahalakshmim Sarojastitam Ghanta Shulahalani Shankhamusale Chakram Dhanusayakam Hastabjairdadhatim Dhananta Vilasachitam Shutulya Prabham Gauri Deha Samudbhavam Trijagata Bhutam Mahapurva Atra Saraswati Manubhaje Shumbhadi Daityartinim Lam Prithivyatmane Gandham Kalpayami Ham Akashatmane Pushpam Kalpayami Yam Vaivatmane Dhupam Kalpayami Ram Agnyatmane Deepam Kalpayami Vam Amritatmane Amritam Kalpayami Sam Sarvatmane Samastopacharan Samarpayami. So that was good, but I'm sure you guys got a feeling
I don't have, but I want to go down those.
for how challenging it is. It is very challenging, no doubt. Keep up the practice, keep going back and practicing. Back to half line by half line if that's what it takes to get comfortable and confident. But that's a good start.
I have heard Asha, what it is, I am South to. After that is little bit.
Which one?
Dandam Septimasim before that, Asha. Ashas Para Pradesh Kulis in Dhyanashlokam.
Which one?
Second one.
Second one.
Second one, first line.
Akshasrak Parashum Dadeshu
That word.
Akshasrak. So it's the AK. So K, like Lakshmi, that K plus SH. Akshasrak. So best thing is if there's a particular combination giving you a problem, just focus on that, because even though your mind knows what it is, your mouth sometimes has to practice making those sounds. And it's just like any sport or any musical instrument where you can't just know the notes, you have to do them with your muscles. The muscles have to get their own kind of learning and their own memory. So the more you focus in on the problem areas, the easier it'll get. Definitely. And there's still sections of things that I have to do that myself, for sure. Which one?
To follow in English this time, I don't know how to pronounce the one with dot underneath the text and one with apostrophe over the text. So.
This last part is just like the Pancha Puja, right? So you offer everything before you start the japa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mentally. Yeah, that's why we say kalpayami. We'll talk about that more next. So any other questions on like Prithivyatmane? You're looking at the English version?
The English version.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. No problem.
Okay, yeah, that R with a little circle underneath is the R vowel.
Okay.
Like R or R. Prithivyatmane.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go on to Saptasati Nyasam, and this is the opening version, meaning it's the beginning, what you do before you start the Devi Mahatmyam. Om Prathama Madhyamottara
Om Pratama Madhyamottara Om Pratama Madhyamottara
Charitranam
Charitranam
Om Prathama Madhyamottara Charitranam
Om Pratama Madhyamottara Charitranam Om Pratama Madhyamottara Charitranam
Brahma Vishnu Rudra Rishayaha
Brahma Vishnu Rudra Rishayaha Brahma Vishnu Rudra Rishayaha
Shri Mahakali Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswatyo Devataha
Shri Mahakali Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswatyo Devataha
Shri Mahakali Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswatyo Devata
Gayatri Ushnik Anushtup Chandamsi
Gayatri Ushnik Anushtup Chandamsi Gayatri Ushnik Anushtup Chandamsi
Nanda Shakambari
Nanda Shakambari Nanda Shakambari
Bhima Shaktayaha
Bhima Shaktayah Bhima Shaktayah
Nanda Shakambari Bhima Shaktayaha
Nanda Shakambari Bhima Shaktayah Nanda Shakambari Bhima Shaktayah
Raktadantika Durga
Raktadantika Durga Raktadantika Durga
Brahmaryo Bijani
Brahmaryo Bijani Brahmaryo Bijani
Agnivayu Suryastatvani
Agnivayu Suryastatvani Agnivayu Suryastatvani
Rukyajasama Veda Dhyanani
Rigyajasama Veda Dhyayani Rigyajasama Veda Dhyayani.
So the word is dhyanani. I think I heard dhyayani. So it's dhyanani. Dhyanani. Okay. Rukyajasama Veda Dhyanani
Rigyajasama Veda Dhyyanani Rigyajasama Veda Dhyyanani
Sakala Kamana Siddhaye
Sakala Kamana Siddhaye Sakala Kamana Siddhaye
Shri Mahakali Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati
Shri Mahakali Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Shri Mahakali Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati
Devata Prityarthe Jape Viniyogaha
Devata Prityarthe Jape Viniyogaha Devata Prityarthe Jape Viniyogaha.
Let's try chanting the whole Viniyoga together one time. Om Prathama Madhyamottara Charitranam Brahma Vishnu Rudra Rishayah
Shri
Mahakali Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswatyo Devataha Gayatri Ushnik Anushtup Chandamsi Nanda Shakambari Bhima Shaktayah Raktadantika Durga Brahmaryo Bijani Agnivayu Suryastatvani Rugyajasama Veda Dhyanani Sakala Kamana Siddhaye Sri Mahakali Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Devata Prityarthe Jape Viniyogaha. Now we start with the Karanasam. And actually the shlokas are the same for Karanasam and Anganyasam. So first one, which we've actually already learned. So let's just chant that shloka together 2 times. Khatkini Sholini Ghora Gadini Chakrini Tatha Shankhini Chapini Varna Bhushundi परिघायुधा खड्गिनी शूलिनी घोरा गदिनी चक्रिणी तथा शङ्खिनी चापिनी बाणभुषुण्डी परिघायुधा. And then we all know Angushtabhyam Namaha. Next one. Shulena pahi no devi.
Shulena pahi no devi. Shulena pahi no devi.
Pahi khatkena chambike.
Pahi khadgena chambike. Pahi khadgena chambike.
Shulena pahi no devi pahi khatkena chambike.
Shulena pahi no devi pahi khadgena chambike. Shulena pahi no devi pahi khadgena chambike.
Ghantaswanena naf pahi.
Ghantaswanena naf pahi. Ghantaswanena naf pahi.
Chapajyaniswanena cha.
Chapajyaniswanena cha. Chapajyaniswanena cha.
Ghantaswanena naf pahi chapajyaniswanena cha.
Ghantaswanena naf pahi chapajyaniswanena cha. Ghantaswanena naf pahi chapajyaniswanena cha.
Let's do just that line 4 times. Ghantaswanena naf pahi chapajyaniswanena cha. 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 Next shloka. Pratyam raksha pratichyam cha.
Pratyam raksha pratichyam cha. Pratyam raksha pratichyam cha.
Chandike raksha dakshine.
Chandike raksha dakshine. Chandike raksha dakshine.
Pratyam raksha pratichyam cha. Chandike raksha dakshine.
Pratyam raksha pratichyam cha. Chandike raksha dakshine. Pratyam raksha pratichyam cha. Chandike raksha dakshine.
Good. Just watch out for the holding on rakshap pratichyam. Rakshap pratichyam. Okay. Next line. Brahmanenatmashulasya.
Brahmanenatmashulasya. Brahmanenatmashulasya.
Uttarasyam tatheshwari.
Uttarasyam pradeshwari. Uttarasyam pradeshwari.
Brahmanenatmashulasya uttarasyam tatheshwari.
Brahmanenatmashulasya uttarasyam pradeshwari. Brahmanenatmashulasya uttarasyam pradeshwari.
Let's do that shloka 2 times through. Pratyam raksha pratichyam cha. Chandike raksha dakshine. ब्राह्मणेनात्मशूलस्य उत्तरस्यां तथेश्वरी प्राच्यां रक्ष प्रतीच्यां च चण्डिके रक्ष दक्षिणे ब्राह्मणेनात्मशूलस्य उत्तरस्यां तथेश्वरी. Next shloka. सौम्यानि यानि रूपाणि
सौम्यानि यानि रूपाणि सौम्यानि यानि रूपाणि
त्रैलोक्ये विचरन्ति ते
त्रैलोक्ये विचरन्ति ते त्रैलोक्ये विचरन्ति ते
सौम्यानि यानि रूपाणि त्रैलोक्ये विचरन्ति ते
सौम्यानि यानि रूपाणि त्रैलोक्ये विचरन्ति ते सौम्यानि यानि रूपाणि त्रैलोक्ये विचरन्ति ते.
And here we have holding in the middle of the line रूपाणि त्रैलोक्ये रूपाणि त्रैलोक्ये. Next line. यानि चात्यर्थघोराणि
यानि चात्यर्थघोराणि यानि चात्यर्थघोराणि
तैरक्षास्मांस्तथा भुवम्
तैरक्षास्मांस्तथा भुवम् तैरक्षास्मांस्तथा भुवम्
यानि चात्यर्थघोराणि तैरक्षास्मांस्तथा भुवम्
यानि चात्यर्थघोराणि.
This is a tricky one. Why don't we start with the first half part? Let's just do the first half 4 times together. Yani chatyartha ghorani Yani chatyartha ghorani Yani chatyartha ghorani Yani chatyartha ghorani. And then the next one. Tairakshasmams. Let's just
Tairakshasmams Tairakshasmams Tairakshasmams.
Okay. And then Tatha bhuvam.
Tatha bhuvam Tatha bhuvam Tatha bhuvam Tatha bhuvam.
Now let's do the second half 4 times together. Tairakshasmams tatha bhuvam Tairakshasmams tatha bhuvam Tairakshasmams tatha bhuvam Tairakshasmams tatha bhuvam. Now let's do the whole line 4 times together. Yani chatyartha ghorani tairakshasmams tatha bhuvam Yani chatyartha ghorani tairakshasmams tatha bhuvam Yani chatyartha ghorani tairakshasmams tatha bhuvam Yani chatyartha ghorani tairakshasmams tatha bhuvam. Good. It got better. And a little bit easier. Next shloka. Khadgashula gadadini
Khadgashula gadadini Khadgashula gadadini
Yani chastrani tembike
Yani chastrani tembike Yani chastrani tembike
खड्गशूलगदादीनि यानि चास्त्राणि तेऽम्बिके
खड्गशूलगदादीनि यानि चास्त्राणि तेऽम्बिके खड्गशूलगदादीनि यानि चास्त्राणि तेऽम्बिके
करपल्लवसङ्गीनि
करपल्लवसङ्गीनि
तैरस्मान् रक्ष सर्वतः
तैरस्मान् रक्ष सर्वतः तैरस्मान् रक्ष सर्वतः
करपल्लवसङ्गीनि तैरस्मान् रक्ष सर्वतः
करपल्लवसङ्गीनि तैरस्मान् रक्ष सर्वतः करपल्लवसङ्गीनि तैरस्मान् रक्ष सर्वतः.
Good. Let's do that shloka 2 times together. खड्गशूलगदादीनि यानि चास्त्राणि तेऽम्बिके करपल्लवसङ्गीनि तैरस्मान् रक्ष सर्वतः खड्गशूलगदादीनि यानि चास्त्राणि तेऽम्बिके करपल्लवसङ्गीनि तैरस्मान् रक्ष सर्वतः. Now the next one is actually from
Yes.
Saptasati, so some of you will already know it, so that's a nice break. Sarvaswarupe sarveshe
सर्वस्वरूपे सर्वेशे सर्वस्वरूपे सर्वेशे
सर्वशक्तिसमन्विते
सर्वशक्तिसमन्विते सर्वशक्तिसमन्विते
सर्वस्वरूपे सर्वेशे सर्वशक्तिसमन्विते
सर्वस्वरूपे सर्वेशे सर्वशक्तिसमन्विते सर्वस्वरूपे सर्वेशे सर्वशक्तिसमन्विते
भयेभ्यस्त्राहि नो देवि
भयेभ्यस्त्राहि नो देवि भयेभ्यस्त्राहि नो देवि
दुर्गे देवी नमोऽस्तुते
दुर्गे देवी नमोऽस्तुते दुर्गे देवी नमोऽस्तुते
भयेभ्यस्त्राहि नो देवि दुर्गे देवी नमोऽस्तुते
भयेभ्यस्त्राहि नो देवि दुर्गे देवी नमोऽस्तुते भयेभ्यस्त्राहि नो देवि दुर्गे देवी नमोऽस्तुते.
Okay, let's chant the whole thing 2 times together.
सर्वस्वरूपे
सर्वेशे सर्वशक्तिसमन्विते भयेभ्यस्त्राहि नो देवि दुर्गे देवी नमोऽस्तुते सर्वस्वरूपे सर्वेशे सर्वशक्तिसमन्विते भयेभ्यस्त्राहि नो देवि दुर्गे देवी नमोऽस्तुते. Good. So the Nyasam uses the same shlokas, which is the typical thing. So next we go to the Dhyanashlokam for this Nyasam. Vidyuddhama samaprabham
विद्युद्धाम समप्रभाम् विद्युद्धाम समप्रभाम्.
So in Vidyuddhama, it's actually not a Mahaprana. It's just a regular da sound, regular da. Vidyuddhama. Vidyuddhama samaprabham
विद्युद्दामसमप्रभाम् विद्युद्दामसमप्रभाम्
मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम्
मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम् मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम्
मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम्
मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम् मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम्
विद्युत्तामसमप्रभां मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम्
विद्युद्दामसमप्रभां मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम् विद्युद्दामसमप्रभां मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम्.
Good. Let's try that 4 times together.
विद्युद्दामसमप्रभां
विद्युत्तामसमप्रभां मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम् विद्युत्तामसमप्रभां मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम् विद्युत्तामसमप्रभां मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम् विद्युत्तामसमप्रभां मृगपतिस्कन्धस्थितां भीषणाम्. So let me isolate the last couple lines. Skandhasthitam bhishanam.
Skandhasthitam bhishanam. Skandhasthitam bhishanam.
Skandhasthitam bhishanam.
Skandhasthitam bhishanam. Skandhasthitam bhishanam.
Just that 4 times together. Skandhasthitam bhishanam. Skandhasthitam bhishanam. Skandhasthitam bhishanam. Skandhasthitam bhishanam. Now the whole line, just one more time. Vidyuttamasamapprabham mrugapatiskandhasthitam bhishanam. Good. Kanyabhih karavala.
Kanyabhih karavala. Kanyabhih karavala.
Kheta vilasad.
Kheta vilasad. Kheta vilasad.
Dhastabhirase. Sorry. Dhastabhirasevitam.
Dhastabhirasevitam. Dhastabhirasevitam.
Kanyabhih karavala kheta vilasad.
Kanyabhih karavala kheta vilasad. Kanyabhih karavala kheta vilasad.
Dhastabhirasevitam.
Dhastabhirasevitam. Dhastabhirasevitam.
Kanyabhih karavala kheta vilasad. Dhastabhirasevitam.
Kanyabhih karavala kheta vilasad. Dhastabhirasevitam. Kanyabhih karavala kheta vilasad. Dhastabhirasevitam.
4 times together. Kanyabhih karavala kheta vilasad. Dhastabhirasevitam. Kanyabhih karavala kheta vilasad. Dhastabhirasevitam. Kanyabhih karavala kheta vilasad. Dhastabhirasevitam. Kanyabhih करवालखेटविलसद्हस्ताभिरासेविताम् हस्तैश्चक्रगदासि
हस्तैश्चक्रगदासि हस्तैश्चक्रगदासि
खेटविशिखांस्
खेटविशिखांस्
हस्तैश्चक्रगदासि खेटविशिखांस्
हस्तैश्चक्रगदासि खेटविशिखांस् हस्तैश्चक्रगदासि खेटविशिखांस्
चापं गुणं तर्जनीम्
चापं गुणं तर्जनीम् चापं गुणं तर्जनीम्
हस्तैश्चक्रगदासि खेटविशिखांश्चापं गुणं तर्जनीम्
हस्तैश्चक्रगदासि खेटविशिखांश्चापं गुणं तर्जनीम् हस्तैश्चक्रगदासि खेटविशिखांश्चापं गुणं तर्जनीम्
4 times together.
Are we getting am I getting the last half of it wrong? Like the Shruti wise?
The melody?
Yeah, the melody.
This is something, it's not set in stone. I'm chanting the way I remember Rameshaya and Gayatri Amma as chanting, and I may even be doing, slightly different from what they do according to my memory. So I wouldn't worry about it. Focus on being able to pronounce and having the holding and rhythm be correct. Do the melody the best that you know. And hopefully someday at some point we'll all be able to, chant together.
I chant like a sentence.
It'll be like that in the beginning. Try to listen for the rhythm. Try to understand the holding and why there's a holding in one place but not in the other. Try to practice it that way, because the rhythm brings a lot of the energy, a lot of the Shakti. And it also helps all of us to chant together, like in one voice, which I find sort of amplifies the energy even more when people are chanting in sync, in tune and everything. So it's something to work on, something to practice. It'll come in time. But yeah, if we can, chant, have some Shatachandi or Sahasra Chandi or some kind of event, or Chandi Homam, maybe with the Rameshaya and everything, then it'll come a lot more easily. But yeah, hopefully I'm remembering pretty much. And then, we can even try to find some videos of them chanting and just kind of check ourselves with the melody. Okay. Let's do that third line 4 times together. Hastaischakra-gadasi kheta-vishikhamschapam gunam tarjanim. Hastaischakra-gadasi kheta-vishikhamschapam gunam tarjanim. Hastaischakra-gadasi kheta-vishikhamschapam gunam tarjanim. Hastaischakra-gadasi kheta-vishikhamschapam gunam tarjanim. Vibhranamanalaatmikam
Vibhranamanalaatmikam
Shashidharam Vibhranamanalaatmikam Shashidharam
Vibhranamanalaatmikam Shashidharam Vibhranamanalaatmikam Shashidharam
Durgam Trinetram Bhaje
Durgam Trinetram Bhaje Durgam Trinetram Bhaje
बिभ्राणामनलात्मिकां शशिधरां दुर्गां त्रिनेत्रां भजे
बिभ्राणामनलात्मिकां शशिधरां दुर्गां त्रिनेत्रां भजे बिभ्राणामनलात्मिकां शशिधरां दुर्गां त्रिनेत्रां भजे
4 times. बिभ्राणामनलात्मिकां शशिधरां दुर्गां त्रिनेत्रां भजे बिभ्राणामनलात्मिकां शशिधरां दुर्गां त्रिनेत्रां भजे बिभ्राणामनलात्मिकां शशिधरां दुर्गां त्रिनेत्रां भजे बिभ्राणामनलात्मिकां शशिधरां दुर्गां त्रिनेत्रां भजे. Good. Let's try the whole Dhyanashlokam one time together. Vidyuttamasamaprabhaam mrugapatiskandhasthitaam bhishanaam kanyabhih karavalaketavilasat हस्ताभिरसेविताम् हस्तैश्चक्रगदासिखेटविशिखांश्चापं गुणं तर्जनीम् बिभ्राणामनलात्मिकां शशिधरां दुर्गां त्रिनेत्रां भजे. Okay, good. So we've already done the Panchabhuta Puja, the pronunciation for that. So we have a little bit of time before the end. So if we just go back to the Navakshari Nyasam, so we can talk about the Nyasam motions. So the first thing that we do is the Viniyoga. Viniyoga means a purpose or like the reason. So you're stating basically what you're chanting, who was a rishi who gave that to humanity, what's the chandas, who's the devata that this is dedicated to, and the reason why we're chanting. So Viniyoga, it's like an application. What are we applying this towards? And so here, what we're saying is Sri Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, so the 3 main forms of the goddess, prasada siddhyarte. So for the sake of their prasadam, their grace, their blessings, we're doing this japam or this parta, this recitation. So that's the purpose. That's always important to remember. So the Nyasam starts actually from this part, and not everyone will do it, but what I learned from Rameshaya is that you go through the motions during this part as well. So this Nyasam, sometimes you'll see it called as Rishyada Nyasa, which means the Nyasa beginning with the Rishi. So first, when we say Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Rishayaha, so those are the Rishis for this. So when we say the Rishi, we touch the top of the head, because the idea is that the lotus feet of the Rishi or the Guru are always in the Sahasrara Chakra, top of the head. So we touch here. Then when we say what the chandas are, in this case, it's 3 different chandas.
That's what I was about to ask you.
Yeah, so theoretically, it's Gayatri, Ushnik, and Anushtup chandas.
Because
Yeah.
plural is Chandamsi, yeah.
So yeah, plural must be Chandamsi. So when you say Chandamsi, you touch the nose, because the nose is like where the breath comes, and Chandas has a lot to do with how long you're holding your breath for the duration of that line. Then when we say Sri Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswatyo Devataha, so the Devata, we're in a sense saying that they're in our heart, or you can think of it as inviting them into your heart. So you touch your heart place when you say the Devata. Then you have the Bijam, the Shakti, and the Kilakam. So this is done slightly different in the temple when we do LSN, but the way Rameshaya taught it is that Bijam is sort of here, so on the right side, like kind of where your rib cage is, under the chest. So Aim Bijam, and then Hrim Shaktihi, so other side, and then just underneath your heart would be the last, Klim Kilakam. So Aim Bijam, Hrim Shaktihi, Klim Kilakam. Then the very last line, when we're saying the reason for the practice, we hold our hands in Namaskara. And then when it comes to the point where we say Jape Viniyogaha, Rameshaya taught us to make a motion that's like this.
Mhm.
And the indication is that like we're not keeping the benefit of this for ourselves, that the grace of God is coming to us, but we release the fruits back to God. We surrender that and offer that to God, in a sense, to do whatever is best for us. It's not that we're not going to get any benefits. It's that, we're surrendering to God and saying, please bless me, in the way that you choose.
Mhm.
So that's that part of the Nyasam. And then when we come to Kara Nyasam, Kara means hand. So we're doing the Nyasam. This is just like LSN or Khadgamala. So most people are familiar, but just to review, Angushtabhyam is for the thumb. So Aim Angushtabhyam Namaha. So when you're saying Aim or whatever the bija is, you're keeping the finger at the base of the other finger. So you start with the thumb, and then as you say Angushtabhyam Namaha, you roll the finger up and out to the end of that finger. So Aim Angushtabhyam Namaha. Then it's Hrim Tarjani Bhyam Namaha. So the forefinger. Tarjani is for the forefinger. Then Klim Madhyama Bhyam Namaha. Madhya just means middle. And then Chamundaye Anamika Bhyam Namaha. So that's for the ring finger. Anamika literally means the nameless one, the one without a name, which is not very creative, but that is the name for the fourth finger. And then Viche Kanishtika Bhyam Namaha for the pinky. Viche Kanishtika Bhyam Namaha. And then you say the entire mantra, Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche. And then Karatala means the palms of the hands. So you're making a kind of like washing or wiping motion on the palms of the hands. And then Karaprishta Bhyam means the backs of the hands. So you again just wipe the backs of the hands. Karaprishta Bhyam Namaha. Then again you repeat it, but for the Anga Nyasam. Anga means a limb or a part. So you start with Aim Hridayaya Namaha, touching the heart. Hrim Shirase Swaha, touching sort of the top of the head. Klim Shikaye Vashat. The Shika is like the top back of the head, where some Brahmin priests may have like a little tuft of hair. Shikaye Vashat. Chamundaye Kavachaya Hum. So you cross the arms like that. Viche Netratrayaya Vaushata. Netratraya, so the three eyes. So it's a little hard with glasses. So ideally, so your fingers are touching the left and right eyes, and then the middle finger touches the third eye. So if for any reason anybody is not wanting to touch their face, or for whatever reason, you can also just hold them close and just keep your attention in those places, because a lot of this is also where your consciousness is going and where your attention is placed. The touching is really to help you focus your concentration in those places, but if you can do that mentally, then that's okay too. All right. Netratraya. Then Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche Astraya Pat. So here, generally, most people will use the second and third fingers to clap on the left palm, 2 or 3 times. Okay, so that astra is like a divine missile or a divine sort of fire. So the idea is that this fire is like all around you. And I think even the way I learned was you kind of put your hand around you in a circle, like that astraya It's like, some sort of fiery shield ring all around you. It's very like a movie or something. And then you clap the hand as a, sort of a sound that helps to also dispel anything that's around you. The what?
The launch codes.
The launch codes, yeah. All right, then we have Bhurbhuva Subarom. So here, Itidigbandaha. So we're sort of closing off the different directions. So it's just one more layer of closing off anything that might come and disturb us. So here you generally will snap in a clockwise circle, maybe like 4 times around you. And then I don't think Rameshaya does this, but some people you may see making this motion, Digbandaha. So banda means like tying or a knot. So you're kind of like tying off the circle of protection around you.
We are doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's how we do in the temple. So you might not see Rameshaya doing that, but we often do that in the temple. Hi, Parani. Okay. And then when you do the dhyanam, Rameshaya recommends that you do Namaskara Mudra while you're chanting. And then we come to the Panchabhuta Puja. So this is something, it's like a Panchopachara Puja because you're offering 5 things like mentally, but you're still offering them. And here what we're doing is we're reciting some special bijaksharas, and then we're saying to the soul or the essence of the Prithvi, the earth element, and then to the soul of Akasha, the sky or ether. So these are the 5 elements: earth, space, air, fire, and water. And the bijaksharas correspond to those elements: lam, ham, yam, ram, vam. And they also correspond to some of the different chakras in the body. So this Panchabhuta Puja is a way of sort of connecting with the elements around you, because God is in the form of those Panchabhutas. Like one of Lalitambika's names is Panchabhutamayi. So she is in the form of the 5 elements. And those elements are also in our bodies that make up our bodies, and also in the chakras in subtle form. So this is something that is, in a sense, balancing and harmonizing the elements within us and around us, as a way of, again, maximizing the peace and harmony in our environment, so that when we chant or we do the homa or whatever it is, there's peace around us. There's no disturbance. Everything is very harmonious and very aligned, because that's what keeps our sadhana in the, proceeding in the best way. So that's one of the purposes of doing this. So when you do the mental puja, there are some more, it's similar to the Karanyasa, but a different order. So that's the only tricky part. So when you say lam prativyatmane gandham kalpayami, you start with the pinky. So you can remember that when you do Karanyasa, the last finger you do was the pinky. So now you start with the pinky. So gandham kalpayami, so you can hold the fingers when you say lam prativyatmane, and then when you say gandham kalpayami, you are rolling the thumbs along the pinkies. Then you go back to the thumbs and proceed 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so ham akashatmane pushpam kalpayami. Then yam vaivatmane dhupam kalpayami. And then, did I do that the right way? Okay. Yatmane, ham akashatmane, vaivatmane. Okay. Then for the 3rd finger, ram agnyatmane deepam kalpayami. And then for the 4th finger, vam amritatmane amritam kalpayami. So then for the final one, which is, the essence of everything, or the entire universe, all beings, we're offering everything that there is. We again do Namaskara Mudra and say Sam Sarvatmane Samastopacharan Samarpayami. Okay, so that's the Panchabhuta Puja. And it's the same basic procedure also for Saptasati. All right, so I'm going to stop there because we're at an hour. So if you have any questions on the nyasas or anything, you can post it in the group or anything like that, and we can practice this briefly in the next class. Okay, so Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, and thanks everyone for joining.